Would you like to play a game? Hello? Would you like to play a game? Hi guys, what's up? It's me, Audra, and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new, I'm not sure how you got here, but certainly I'm glad you came. And if you are new here, well, you're in for a treat. All right, if you like chaotic, frenetic energy, you like horror, you like beauty and commentary, then I suggest you subscribe. For the low price of $0, you get to see me look like a complete and total mess while sometimes drinking wine with my friends. And also, here are my socials. Come hang out, let's chat, look at each other's looks. I try to be on Instagram as much as possible. I comment as much as possible, and it's so fun hanging out with you guys there. It is Terror Tuesday, which used to mean that I would do something with my face while I talked about horror films. However, I don't really do makeup well while I'm trying to talk because my ADD won't let me keep everything together. But if you insist that I do makeup, okay, now that that awkward moment is over, let's pour the wine. That's enough. So what are we going to be talking about today, Audra? Well, in today's Terror Tuesday, we're going to be talking about how all the sequels ruined Saw. Okay, all right, let's drink first. Let's drink to that, because it's true. Okay, so definitely spoilers, but I can't imagine how there are spoilers because Saw is seriously like 20 years old. I feel like it's 20 years old at this point. It's gotta be. It's like crazy old. Moving on. I came in a little bit closer so I could be a little creepier. But Saw is a really old movie. We don't really need to go into spoilers because it is that old. But for those of you who haven't seen it, if you want to see it, I think you can rent it right now on Prime, or you can do whatever other things that you can do that are legal. It's the little people who get hurt. So the original Saw is a fantastic piece of horror cinema. The amount of suspense that was built in that movie is astronomical. So for those of you that don't know, and even if you do know, we're going to do a quick overview of the original Saw. So the original Saw is about a killer they call the Jigsaw because he cuts puzzle pieces out of people's skin, which is delightful. But he cuts puzzle pieces out of people's skin, does traps, and nobody knows why, except for Jigsaw himself. Would you like to play a game? Oh, that was good. So, but the whole thing really, the majority of this film takes place in a room. And what you can assume is an abandoned building because obviously it's fairly difficult to keep two hostages screaming and yelling chained up in a place where other people live, unless you live in some places because neighbors are getting a little weird now. Anyway, the movie is really, really compact. And by compact, I mean there is so much tension that gets built up in that whole room. And you realize that the budget was obviously very, very small, which is not unusual for horror films. A lot of the budgets are small relative to how much money they make. This movie grossed a ridiculous amount, and I used to have those figures with me, and I'm so sorry I don't have them with me right now. I'll probably pop it down here because my phone is on a whole other bullshit level, and I can't do my research like I normally do while I'm filming. But anyway, it grossed far more because I believe it was made for like $1.2 million, and I feel like it made like 500 mil, but I could be crazy. So anyway, the thing about this movie is obviously the title tells you what's going to happen. You know when these two guys are trapped and chained up and the saw comes out that at some point there is going to be some sawing, all right? You're aware. But the thing is you don't know when, you don't know who, you don't know why. As the movie progresses, you start realizing that Jigsaw is really this man named John Kramer, I believe his name is. I can never remember his actual name because I just keep wanting to call him Jigsaw, but I think it's John Kramer. So John Kramer is a cancer patient. He is dying. And one of the things that really sticks out to me about the original Saw is the idea that I garnered as a viewer and that I kind of keep with me throughout life, actually. That's weird to say, but it's true. I've learned a lot of good things from horror films about how to treat people. And so one of the things that always stuck with me is that it really gave this very clear idea of pay attention to who's watching you. Do you know what I mean? Like, you may not ever see these people. Like, when you go to the store, you may not ever see the clerk. You're just over there buying your stuff and walking out the door. But they saw you. You know what I mean? They see you. They know you. It's never more apparent in our real lives that that's a normal occurrence than maybe like places you frequent. If you frequent a restaurant, if you frequent a bar, it becomes very much apparent how much people notice you and remember you, because then it becomes something you depend on. You know what I mean? It's something where you're like, yeah, I need them to know that it's me, because like if you forgot your wallet, for instance, like there's, you know, 2 bars that I go to where if I forgot my wallet and had to like run home right quick and get it, they would not be like, this bitch trying to steal. No, they'd be like, oh, come back and whatever, and leave it alone. And I would just go get my shit and like come back and pay for my booze. Speaking of which, so anyway, the point of the matter is John's a cancer patient, and for a long period of time, you know, he ends up being found terminally ill. And because of this, he starts becoming like a case study, and essentially med students are wandering around, his doctor's wandering around. All these people are just wandering around him, and they never see him. He sees them all day, every day, as they talk over him. And it really just gave you this sense of like, you should probably pay more attention and give more respect to people around you, because you just never know what they're picking up on, what they know. So it brings you into the room. And by the way, the original Saw is not gory. The subsequent Saws, yes, but the original Saw is not gory. And so the thing is, it cuts, like there's many pieces of this story, and I'm not going to cut into like every little bit of it, because I really want to focus on what made this movie phenomenal amongst all of the things. But what made this movie really phenomenal to me is that you see that John is essentially trying to say there's so many people who don't have an appreciation for their lives. And that is what his traps are designed for. The first of which we see is the woman who, I think it's the first. I always feel like it's the first, but I feel like it might not be. But it is the woman who's trapped in the jaw of life, I can rip your jaw off, trap. She goes through and she survives. She's one of the very few survivors of the traps that we know of in the very first movie. I think at this point the only survivor, because she did what he told her to do. Even as she's cutting this dude open, which sort of like icky but not gory. It's just icky. You know what I mean? Like if you've watched a hospital drama, you can watch this. So there's a point where she's like cutting him open, realizes he's alive, but still keeps going because she's gonna live. She's like, I'm gonna live. And live she does. But she also comes through, she was a heroin addict with a newfound lease on life. She no longer wants to do drugs. She feels like Jigsaw saved her life, which that comes into play later. But you start to see that that is his intent, is for people to have an appreciation for the lives that they lead, especially as he is realizing his life is coming to an end, and he understands all the things that he maybe didn't appreciate in his life, including his wife, that he would work so much and do all these other things, that he wasn't paying attention to the things he needed to be paying attention to, because his wife sadly ends up losing a child due to, I believe she works in like a drug clinic or like a clinic, she works in a clinic of some form, but somebody's there trying to get drugs. He knocks her down, it ends up causing her to lose the baby, and it's just a whole horrible ordeal for the two of them to have to go through. So they go through this, and then now he's diagnosed with cancer, so it's not like he even has the opportunity to like have a family again, to try again. They can't even try again, and he realizes how much he didn't appreciate his life, and so now of course he's gonna teach you too. So when you get to the two guys in there, the game that they are playing is they have a clock, and they have to find a way out of the room. And you're thinking like it's the Saw. And throughout the movie, these two guys are just trying to figure out, you know, how they know each other a little bit, how this is happening, why this is happening to them, how they can get out. And they're doing everything but what John said on the recorder, like, and anything but what he said. Like, it wouldn't be a movie, obviously, if they followed directions, but damn. But they're just sitting there, and then you start kind of going into their past to see what happened, because they start talking about kind of how they got there. And it's a person in a pig mask took both of them. And that pig mask, still very fucking creepy, by the way. Very creepy. But I hate that pig mask. I used to see it in my closet in the darkness, okay? Like, that pig mask fucked me up for a little while. Like, I would, like, open the closet door and I'd be like, now that I'm talking about it, I'm going to have nightmares. Thanks, guys. But you realize Carrie Elwes, I can never say his last name. Please don't butcher me for it. It's spelled funny and my mouth isn't made for those letters to be that close together like that. Anyway, Carrie E is the doctor. He was John's doctor. Again, pay attention to people. But he was John's doctor. You're going to find that out later in the movie. It's not like it's not a secret. I'm telling the story. And that's what matters. So he essentially rolls up and you see that he is going to cheat on his wife. And so then you understand why he's there, because Carrie has a wife and a child at home, and there's no reason for him to be stepping out on such a beautiful life that he's built. Like, he built this beautiful life, and yet here he is, like, acting like it doesn't matter. And then the other guy that's in the room, who is played by the Australian guy who also helped write the film, but he did not direct it. The other guy did. Listen, I'm going to put names down here because I am so bad with names, especially as soon as the lights come on and the camera. I'm like, also, I don't have a projector. I'm not a fancy bitch. I'm just an old bitch. The resident old bitch of YouTube. All right, so what we start getting into is that the other guy is a photographer. Put that in quotations, because what he really does is like catch cheaters and da-da-da. You see where I'm going with this? He catches cheaters, he catches people doing things that they're not supposed to be doing, and that is how their paths have crossed. So it's not only pay attention to people around you and be more mindful, but it's also watch how paths cross with people. Like, the world is filled with what some would say are coincidences, but are they? And the whole thing, you know, kind of culminates with Carrie Elwes remembering that, like, understanding that his family is in danger. I think he finds out on a cell phone, and he has got to get out and he's got to save his family. So inevitably, you know, the penultimate moment of the film saws off his own fucking leg. And he's like cool to do it because he's like, I'm a doctor, I know how to handle up on this. Of course, the shock factor he didn't really count on. But the point is, and I'm so sorry, I have the sniffles. I don't know where they came from. It's humid and it's like also cold. Leave me alone. Hence the hood. Hey there, little Red Riding Hood. You sure are looking good. Okay, I'm done. And then Carrie, you know, starts like dragging himself out, and he's like, yo, bro, I will get you the fuck out of here. I'll send help. And other dude's like, no! And he like moves. And then that is when you find out that all this time, the key has been in the tub with him. The whole time. Other guy, not Carrie. Carrie was on the ground. Also, no, but you also find out that the guy who was in the middle, because I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you, as usual, details. I forgot to tell you that there are 3 men in that room, and one of them is dead in the middle, but it turns out he's not dead, it's John Kramer, and the reason he could be so still is because he's dying, I guess, so like that's why he could just lay there. But the interesting thing about that too is it also, again, calls into question your ability to pay attention to your surroundings and the people you're with, because had they ever even really been paying attention to him, they would have noticed him breathing at one point or another. But they were so focused on everything else that they didn't realize that he was alive that whole time. So it's just like this huge, intense, for me, I felt like it was very intense. And for them to have filmed, I feel like 80, I would say 90% of that movie in the room, and be able to keep that tension rising and building, like the tension just keeps coming up, and you see the traps and bits and pieces and like kind of fast motion, but you don't ever really see anybody having, going through the traps, with the exception of the jaws of life. And again, that's not particularly gory, just slightly icky. And she frees herself, and you're like, wow. And when that trap goes, you're like, oh my God, it's very scary. But again, no, you don't really see all of the traps. You don't see all of that stuff. And it ends, and it's fucking phenomenal. When the original Saw, when you watched it, and there were no sequels, and that was the first time you've ever seen, I lost my mind. Like, I thought about that movie for weeks because I just thought about like how amazingly put together it was, how cohesive the story was. It was everything interlocked like this, and it was just fabulous. It was a really good piece of storytelling.
And then they made sequels.
Of course, the audience wants more, and this happens a lot with horror, and specifically horror. It happens in other genres. Action is the one I would say is the next biggest culprit of sequels. But man, this is one of those cases where the sequels to me did not make it better. Okay, so let me get some wine first before we get into this. So I get it. People wanted to see how the traps worked. But to me, as the sequels go on, it just becomes all about the fucking traps. And it's just insane to me. It's just traps, 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 traps. This is how this works. And the traps are crazy. Like, they start just getting like really intense to where you're like, John, I don't know how you had the strength to do all this. Of course, we find out later that he's got minions, and that's another thing that ruins it. He has disciples, and it very quickly, like especially in by the time you get to like the third Saw film, it just feels like John has a god complex, and it completely destroys the mythos of the first one. The first one felt like a dying man trying to like leave a legacy and trying to say you just need to have more appreciation for your life, and like this was his last gift to the world. A twisted gift, granted, but that's what it felt like. He was leaving his mark, his last grand opus, and that's what it felt like. And then you have these sequels that really just start making it seem like he's got a god complex, and he's basically choosing who lives or dies and selecting his disciples to carry on his work. And it's just kind of like, all right, bro. And like almost all of his disciples fail him. It becomes so entrenched in the traps that border on, not even border. They hit a point of ridiculousness where you're just like, okay, but. And even as the sequels continue, I sat there at times going, it doesn't make sense that for these people to be in these traps, having heard of Jigsaw, knowing about what this guy does, and like not once does anybody listen. Like, not once does anybody go, okay, like we should just like fucking try to work together because like everybody else has died. So like it also introduces like a very large group mentality, because the thing about Saw 1 that made it so creepy was that virtually all of these people were by themselves with these traps. You know what I mean? You had to rely on yourself, and you had to want to live, like really live. And it really hinged on you just like listening to what the fucking tape said and trying to do that to live. Most failed, but obviously Shawnee, she didn't. She's the girl with the bear trap. Anyways, she survived. I think it's Shawnee Smith, maybe that's her name. But she survives, and you start realizing you have to rely on yourself to get where you want to get. In the sequels, it becomes like there's 5 or 6 people in a room together trying to do this, and obviously, if like he wanted people to actually win this, like why, like it's more people means less likely to win, and that doesn't make sense. And the reason that I say that he wants them to be able to win and make decisions is because that becomes a theme throughout. Like he starts getting upset at his disciples who don't really play the game fairly, because the game is supposed to theoretically, I do a lot of air quotes, don't punch me, like I'm old lady, leave me alone, theoretically be fair. So theoretically, the game's supposed to be fair, but how is it going to be fair? Because like people, people don't work together very well. Maybe 2 people, perhaps 3. But when you have a whole shit ton of people in a room and they are so disparate from one another, like that was the other thing, is they were disparate but like alike. They had shitty things that they had done, but like they weren't on the same level of evil. Like you have one dude who's like killed a motherfucker, and then another person who's like, I ran over somebody's toe. I mean, obviously not that, but do you see what I'm saying? Like they were just so far in range from what, oh, I look like an anime character for a second. But they were so far in range from what they had done that wasn't necessarily good that it causes you to question everything from the first Saw. So when you start getting into part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5, part 6, Jigsaw, blah, 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 I started looking at it being like, he's over here making all these decisions for people, but if you go and look back, like, Cary Elwes' character in Saw 1 didn't actually cheat on his wife. He went to, he was going to, and then he realized on his own, without the help of Jigsaw and the pig-faced kidnapper, that he didn't want to do that. On his own, he realized that he did have a fantastic family at home and he was making a mistake. And he tells the girl, who I believe is an Asian lady, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but he tells her, like, I can't do this, and he leaves. So now all of a sudden, his reason for being in that room,
null and void.
Because what other people have done starts to seem worse. And it feels like, okay, well, guy in the bathtub, his crime was just like he was taking photos that people had paid for. So wouldn't it make more sense that the people who paid him for these dirty photos should be in those rooms in the traps as opposed to him? Because
he's trying to make a living,
right? He has to be able to eat food. This is America after all. So he's got to be able to make a living. How is he going to make a living if, like, everybody can't make a super duper honest living? I mean, ask a fucking politician. But I'm just saying, like, he's making a living, so now it doesn't make sense that he's in the room. Do you see what I'm saying? As each movie progresses, the shit that people have done gets worse, but also, like, not. And you're just kind of sitting there like,
so how are you deciding who lives or dies?
how are you deciding who deserves to be in these traps? How are you making these choices? And then there's like the time continuum that really gets confusing, and it finally kind of gets wrapped up in Jigsaw to where you understand that, like, the games were running congruent to one another. So not like people may not have heard about him, or they've heard about but don't know how it works. So you're kind of giving some passes for, like, why they couldn't work together, but again, it just doesn't add up, and it ruins the mythos of the first one. The first one very much gave you the idea that this man had everything he ever wanted in the palm of his hand, and he let it go. And over here you have basically the paparazzi, which especially during that time when it came out was particularly horrific. So you have like two of like our work, and also cheating, I think at that time was going whoop, 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 whoop. So you have both of these really horrific, like what we at the time were like, these are terrible traits. And you have both of what we would put those on a pedestal of like shitty fucking things to do. And you bought into like, yeah, I get why they would be there, and they didn't appreciate their lives, and I can see why he would do this. Essentially, John looks like a petty bitch, like fighting all these petty grievances with these people, and it doesn't really seem like it's that deep anymore. But with all these sequels, it ruins it. Every sequel, every time it comes up, every disciple he gets, because his disciples don't even follow the rules. So he's like testing his disciples. Shawnee doesn't follow the rules. She let Cary Elwes die. Like, she just like was like, psh, he's crawling out. She should have helped him, but she didn't. She was like, psh, whatever, and tried to fucking kill him. That's not how it works. Like, apparently you're supposed to allow people to like live, and she did not do that. You know, he had a cop guy played by Costas Mandylor. Is that his name? I think that might be his name. Oh my God, if it is and I put it right there, you guys, I'm so proud of myself. But he is a dirty, shitty cop, and he's supposed to be one of the disciples. So like now you're also looking at John like,
bro, your character judgment is fucking poor.
So if your character judgment is this bad, how can I trust that the people that you're putting in these traps actually deserve to be there? Now I know that this is like fiction. I'm not an idiot. I'm just saying, as a horror lover, this is one of those instances where the sequels completely just shat on and sucked the bottom out of the first one. So now, in order for me to watch the first one, I have to wait years and not have seen any Saw movies and any of that to be able to just enjoy it as it once was. As I originally enjoyed Saw as a very good, very tightly compact film about a guy who's dying and wants to leave the world with one last thing, which is appreciate your life. And that, my friends, is the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. There's not going to be a whole lot of editing because your girl is tired and also starting to sweat. But until next time, I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Super duper shout out and creepy, creepy horror love to my Patreon family, the Gutta Gang. I love you guys. You're amazing. You're awesome. I could not do this without you. I enjoy our Sunday lives. Ooh, and also, I need to put up a vote for you guys. What horror movie do we want to talk about this Sunday? And let's pick something with sequels. Let's do something with sequels, guys. All right, everybody have a great day. Until next time, please be safe out there. If you're out there, if you're in there, stay safe inside. Also, be careful with what you're eating because you're home a lot and now you're stuck with your own gas. I don't know from experience. All right, guys, until next time, I love each and every one of you, and deuces! I'm a whole mess.